All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Stat Daddy podcast, or just show in general. I'm your host, the Stat Daddy, Big Zach DC. You feel me? Forgive me. It's a little warm in my room. Forgot to button my top button a little underdressed for the occasion. But yeah, first I just want to say shout out to Rianu over there at Realm. Made this sick ass collared shirt type little flannel thing. This little flannel John. Very much appreciated. He didn't make it specifically for me. I made it sound like he's just like my personal designer. But he has a bunch of crazy dope stuff. So go check out Realm. But yeah. So today we're going to be talking about NBA teams, in my opinion, which I'll back up with a couple numbers and different such things and acquisitions over the offseason that I feel are going to be really successful this season and could even push for a title contention. So these are, I guess you could say, the teams that are most likely to win the chip. In my opinion, trying to go off this way too early. We'll obviously have a better sense of who could potentially win the chip once we get start to get a little deep into the season. Maybe not even deep into the season. Maybe like a quarter way through the season. I feel like it'll be pretty easy to spot like the true contenders. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but called the Celtics going to the finals when they had a losing record last year. Okay, there's a lot of different metrics we could use to kind of predict these things. There's also just different acquisitions. Like as soon as the Celtics picked up Derek White, chef kisses, love that acquisition. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and hop right into it. Just for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to pull up the odds. Just going to pull up lay odds. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to click. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa. Okay, why? Okay. Okay. This is all going wrong already. Oh, yo, so yeah, this is a little disheartening to say the least. Why is oh, there we go. StreamYard, I see you. I see why I was so confuzzled for that moment. You went ahead and changed it from share screen to present screen, or maybe I just have never noticed, and silly old me. But anyways, yeah. So these are the current odds as of a week ago for different teams to win the title. So first and foremost, for the West, I think it's very appropriate that the Golden State Warriors are the title favorites coming out of the Western Conference. I think the Clippers are just a wee bit high, considering like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard really haven't been on the court together a lot the last couple seasons. With that being said, though, Kawhi at 80% of what he used to be, and Paul George just doing his thing, I think they have a very good shot to win it as well. But sometimes it's not always about who has the most stacked team, even though the Clippers do have a fucking stacked team. And that might go against my point, but out of all these teams that are here in this top three, keep in mind I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. Phoenix Suns fanatic, if you will. Okay? My favorites to win the title, in my opinion, are going to have to be, like I said, out of the West, the Golden State Warriors, but they're not number one. They're not number one. The Milwaukee Bucks are number two, actually. They're number two. Okay, a healthy Bucks team with a MVP Giannis. Woo-wee! It's going to be really hard to stop. Really hard to stop that man. And the squad that he has around him, yes, they are aging quite a bit. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton are getting up there in their 30s, Not necessarily, well, I guess this day and age of the NBA, you can still be competitive with some 30-year-olds, being in the starting rotation, But we could see some drop off of some physical attributes. Efficiency could go up for shooting for Middleton, but anyways, my number one pick, my sleeper pick to win. Maybe it's not even a sleeper pick because they're still the top 6 or 7 best odds to win the chip. Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, in my opinion, the Philadelphia 76ers have set themselves up to be the number one title contender this season, barring injury. Okay. So if you just look at a couple things, right? We look at, you know, Phil, like if Joel Embiid, for example. Sorry, I'm getting a little frazzled, getting some fantasy football notifications. Okay, we're not going to be talking about fantasy football very much anymore on this channel. Okay, had some things happen over the course of the last week and a half with a couple of my leagues, where let's just say Thanos snapped them out of existence. Little short petty ass Thanos just went gone. Okay, so my content leaks, they're out of here. So we're just going to be replacing the content with even better content with honestly a sport I know way better than football, I should say. So anyways, yeah, Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid arguably could have been the MVP last season, okay? It was the craziest MVP race we've had in a minute, okay? There's like 6 different contenders that really had a shot up until the last couple of weeks of the season to be the MVP, okay? You had Giannis, you had, of course, the MVP himself, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Stephen Curry at a point, but ended up shooting his way out, had a slump for a little too long. But that's the thing about the NBA, okay? There's so many games, it's so fast paced where it only takes a 2 to 3 week window for you to underperform, even if you're putting up great stats compared to the rest of the NBA players on average. If you yourself aren't always on it 100%, your chances are shot, are absolutely shot, right? So, but yeah, I would say Joel Embiid. I love Nikola Jokic, but Joel Embiid definitely had a case to be the MVP last season. If he would have won it over, if he would have won it over Jokic, I would have had no quarrels, no qualms, one bit. But yeah, so if we just go down this list a little bit for title contenders, yeah, not a lot of stuff is jumping out at me. Okay, I could tell you definitely like some teams that people aren't going to expect to make the playoffs necessarily, like all the way down here, the Pelicans. I love the Pelicans making the playoffs over the Timberwolves. I could potentially, see them making it over the Lakers if the Lakers don't really get their stuff together. I mean, the addition of Patrick Beverley is cool, but that doesn't necessarily like move the needle, in my opinion. Russell Westbrook's going to have to come off that bench for y'all. I mean, his efficiency coming off the bench was definitely better than it was whenever he was starting for them. Anthony Davis needs to take that next step. Okay, he has to be the primary guy, the primary defender, and the primary scorer for a team, which is very difficult. Not many people in the NBA can do that. Giannis definitely can. There's a couple other people that I'm not going to, mention just for the sake of saving time for this video. I'm trying to make a little bit of a shorter video than what we're normally used to. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the 76ers rotation from 76ers 2021/2022 roster. Okay. And then I'm also going to pull up the current 76ers 2022/2023 roster. That is, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much set. What do you know? The 76ers beat the Cavaliers by 1 in the preseason. Hell yeah. That just boosts it a little bit, boosts my ego. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's see. Basketball Real GM. Cool. Ooh. Cool. Is there like a way to order this more appropriately before I share it with you guys? Yeah, there we go. Cool. This website kind of sucks. My apologies. I know I'm slowing down the content currently grinding the content to an absolute halt, right? Just so poor of me. But yeah, okay, yeah, let me just compare these real quick. All right, cool. God damn, I need ad blocker. Boom. So stop sharing that. We're going to go ahead and share this screen right now. Present screen instead of share. Come on, StreamYard. Ugh. Can't believe you did that to me. Can't believe you did that to me. So yeah, we're going to look at the current roster for the Philadelphia 76ers. You feel me? We're going to look at it currently. Yeah. So if we're going to go ahead and just check this out real quick because this is very interesting. Okay. So this man right here, Shake Milton. This man right here. Last season for the Philadelphia 76ers, maybe I won't show you the previous roster in its entirety, was the sixth man for the team, arguably the sixth man, right? With the additions of Daniel House Jr., Montrezl Harrell, okay. Was George Niang on the team last year? I think he was, wasn't he? No, or was he? No, he got picked up, right? No, he was here. Who am I thinking of then? Okay, scratch that. Sorry about that. Yeah, with the additions of Daniel House, George Niang getting more minutes now, Montrezl Harrell being added to the team. Michael Foster Jr., he's not going to be like a needle mover, but he's definitely going to be a great rotation player. They got Korkmaz, who's actually starting to come into his own a little more than I expected personally. And then, just the addition of DeAnthony Melton, Matisse Thybulle, like all these names that I'm saying right now could potentially be in ahead of Shake Milton in line. Shake Milton went from being the sixth best player arguably on the team to being now the 10th best, 9th best player on the roster. Okay, which I know is very arguable, but if we're going by statistics and what they bring to the team, it's not out of the realm of possibility, right? So if we're looking at the starting rotation, right? You got James Harden, in my opinion, should play point guard. You got Tyrese Maxey playing the 2. Who are we putting up at the 3? We're going to put Tobias Harris most likely. It's like Tobias Harris. Sorry, my phone is going absolutely nutty. I'm going to have to just mute that hoe for the time being. And then, yeah, you could throw in either, like Matisse Thybulle or, I don't know, not even Matisse Thybulle. We're probably going to have PJ Tucker starting. So, yeah, if we're going for a lineup of, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, you got our boy Tobias Harris, who people forget was a killer and has taken a huge step back in this offense. Not even just this offense, just on this team, but he does it to contribute, like to play his role and ensure and lock up like the role of a third, fourth best player on any given night who can pop off and be your second highest scorer for the night, And then you add a PJ Tucker alongside a Joel Embiid. And then coming off the bench, you have a Montrezl Harrell. You got Niang, Korkmaz. You got DeAnthony Melton, who doesn't even make the starting lineup. DeAnthony Melton's not making the starting lineup for the 76ers. This is a starting caliber point guard in the NBA. And then you have Shake Milton, who's also a starting caliber, shooting guard on a lot of NBA teams currently. I know shooting guards are the deepest position in the league, but you could make the argument for a couple of these teams. And then you also have Matisse Thybulle coming off the bench. Like it's actually insane. It's insane the depth that they've added to this team, because this was the issue before last year and before. They didn't have the depth to take it all the way, right? And with Joel Embiid really coming into his prime, he should be coming into his prime right about now. It's going to be freaking scary. It's going to be really, really scary. The only teams that are really going to be messing with the 76ers, in my opinion, in the East are, most likely, let's just go back over here just for the sake of just making sure we're all transparent and I can show you everything. Boop, 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 boom. Yeah, the only teams really messing with them are going to be if the Brooklyn Nets can piece it all together, which I don't know if they necessarily can, but if they do, none of us are going to be surprised. The Milwaukee Bucks are for sure the only other team that I see in the tier with the 76ers. But in my opinion, the 76ers have better depth than the Milwaukee Bucks currently. Got the Boston Celtics, who have all this drama with their coach, and I don't know how that's all going to play out. And we know how the Boston Celtics started the last season, coming into the, blah. If they can ride that momentum, they'll be up there in that top 3 with the Bucks and with the 76ers for the Eastern Conference. But Yeah, there's not a lot of competition. Like Tyler Harrow ends up coming through for the Heat and being like an absolute superstar. I wouldn't be surprised either. But for them to say that they're going to win the chip, I don't know about that. Do they have the opportunity in front of them? Yeah. But there's always like 8 teams every year that have like a good enough roster to go all the way. It's just a matter of do their difference makers outweigh the competitions. In my opinion, like having a starting lineup, as I said before, of Philadelphia seven, like for the Philadelphia 76ers of coming out here with our boy James Harden, who's probably going to lead the lead in assists. Like let's be if we're being realistic, James Harden could be top 3, top 2 in assist totals this season. Only other players I could see like being up there with them are Chris Paul and Trae Young. Like sincerely, like for realistic shots, like way too early speculation. Like that's who I see being the top 3. It's going to be Harden. It's going to be our friend Trae Young, and it's going to be Chris Paul. Okay. Going on Tyrese Maxey. A lot of people like, oh, well, Tyrese Maxey. Like, if I were to ask the general public, what's one thing you need Tyrese Maxey to work on this offseason for him to really take that next step? A lot of people are going to say shooting. What a lot of people don't know is that Tyrese Maxey was, I believe, top 5 in 3-point percentage last season and efficiency. Bet you didn't know that. In my opinion, what he could have been or should have been working on this offseason is potentially, some playmaking, a little bit of playmaking, relieve that duty from Harden a little bit, it's, but that's semantics. And then, like I said, Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker, that's a little bit of that's some grit. That's some grit on your team. Tobias Harris with that scoring is going to really chip in. He's not the best defender in the league, but he's serviceable for sure. PJ Tucker knows how to lock up a couple different superstars. And then, oh my goodness, who's coming up at the 5? Joel Embiid with the blocks, with the dunks. He has 3-point shooting. Like, and I'm not saying he shoots 3 points like Kevin Durant, obviously, but he's a little like if him and Jokic, I can see this season being neck to neck. I mean, Joel Embiid's had to do it all in the past, so he has that bag. His bag's deeper than you think. So, I kind of just went on a huge rant about how the 76ers are, favorites in my opinion. Maybe that's what I'm gonna call the title. Maybe this video is gonna be called why the 76ers have the best odds to win the chip or something like that. But yeah, 76ers for sure. I mean, put those future bets in now. If you put like a little hundo on there, just for a rainy day, it could pay off. It could pay off. I'm just saying. And we're having like the 7th best odds. Like cool. If we're talking about the Western Conference, like the competition in the West, I mean, if the Warriors are healthy, and their younger players like Kuminga, Moody, all those guys, Jordan Poole, like increase their efficiency, and not just increase their increase their efficiency, but also like take another leap. It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be really scary. And honestly, I could see Jordan Poole like starting maybe 20 games this season. 25 games, maybe, and that's without injury. Because if you think about it, I believe the Warriors play 15 back-to-backs this season coming up. They're going to probably rest Klay Thompson for all those back-to-backs, right? So they're resting Klay Thompson. Stephen Curry is going to rest a few games, or maybe I'm not saying he's going to get injured, for sure, but he's most likely going to tweak an ankle or something. I could see Jordan Poole filling in for that first team and just being a really, really, really strong option coming off that second, coming up with the second unit. Last season, he had to kind of get in where he fit in and try to adapt to Klay Thompson coming back to the rotation and a couple different curveballs. But this season, I can see him doing way, way better. Way, 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 way better as far as efficiency goes and really contributing to the team, because he was a contributor last season, but he had a lot of ups and downs. I think that kind of starts to level out a little bit, and it'll be a little more. It'll have a few more ups than downs. You know what I mean? Let's see. I talked about the 76ers for so long that I don't know if I should necessarily start really pulling up all the stat sheets and all the things like that at the moment. But We'll get there when we get there. My personal favorite team, the Phoenix Suns. Our window's closing. Okay, our window's closing. We're trying to trade Jay Crowder. The additions that we've made this offseason aren't anything too spectacular, in my opinion. We still have campaign on the roster, which you live or die by campaign. Okay, like the campaign rests on campaign shoulders. But in all seriousness, though, Cameron Payne, I never know. You never know what you're gonna get with the guy. Okay, like is he gonna like shoot efficiently? Is he gonna hit his three threes that he gets a game, or is he gonna brick five of them and keep shooting, or is he gonna like just like take the ball all the way up the court, like cut past everybody and then not even bother to hit the layup or attempt to because he knows he's gonna get blocked, and then try to kick the ball back and either throw it out of bounds or miss his target and get a turnover, you know? Like Cameron Payne, I loved him during our playoff run when he came up. What do you have, like 26 and 9 or 28-9? Popped off for that one game. It's probably a career high game, and on a great stage. We needed it the most then, but oh my goodness gracious! And Chris Paul's continuing to deteriorate. Like he's still a great player, but I mean, like for him to be our second, third option as far as scoring goes, and like be our main playmaker, like it's realistically, I think our window is closing quicker than most people realize. So, like, for God's sakes, we just lost to the AG 36ers or something like that in the preseason. Monty Williams ended up playing our starters a little longer than he wanted to because they all wanted to come back in to try to cut the comeback, like try to like mount a comeback. Dog, like, what is going on? That's two home game losses in a row now for us. Like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But we're not talking about my frustrations, but whatever. Denver Nuggets, always in the running. I mean, if Jamal Murray comes back and he's even 90% of the player that he once was, or even 80%, the Nuggets could be a nice little dark horse to make it to the finals. Are they going to beat a Boston Celtics? Are they going to beat a Milwaukee Bucks? Are they going to be a Philadelphia 76ers in the chip? It remains to be seen, but I don't think so, personally. I didn't mention Michael Porter, by the way, and I only said Jamal Murray because, honestly, I feel like Michael Porter is not going to improve more than he has. And he's like the Nuggets liability, Like we have a campaign coming off the bench trying to fill in for Chris Paul, and if stuff goes sideways, try not to cuss as much on these shows anymore. If stuff goes sideways, Cameron Payne could like end up causing Chris Paul to come back in early, blah 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 blah. For the Denver Nuggets, if Michael Porter Jr. is not firing on all cylinders on that night, like he's going to be a liability for him. He's going to be a liability for him, But I didn't really talk about the Brooklyn Nets too much because obviously, like if Ben Simmons pans out, if TJ Warren comes back and he ends up being like the same Bubble Warren type like player or efficiency, like obviously the Brooklyn Nets are going to be in a really nice position to make it. But I definitely think the Eastern Conference has a stronger chance of winning the title this season than the West does. The only outlier in the Western Conference, in my opinion, are the Golden State Warriors with Stephen Curry. Especially with, like I said before, the young guys coming up and all that, it's going to be really difficult. It's going to be really difficult for a lot of teams in the West to emerge. Memphis Grizzlies are great, but like they still need that next little extra oomph. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's great that you guys did so well with Ja Morant being out, 11-1 or 11-2 or whatever it was. Unless Ja Morant like continuously drops 30 and like 10 for you guys, which I don't see happening all that consistently, and Jaren Jackson Jr. develops into that next a true scoring option because he does everything else well. I think he's very underrated as far as like what he does on the defensive end. The rebounds, getting boards, blocks, even chips in with steals, just like clogging lanes. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. really does his thing, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But like Desmond Bane, like it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Dallas Mavericks, I love the addition of Christian Wood. I think he's going to be a fringe all-star player for the Dallas Mavericks. But does that move the needle enough for the Mavericks to be title contenders? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to start seeing Luka contending for titles truly until about, let's say, like maybe 2 more seasons at the earliest, which could be seen as a hot take. He's one of the greatest players in basketball. If he goes on the same run that he did in FIBA, sure. But in the NBA, it's way more difficult. I say that now. Watch me be completely incorrect. But yeah, I think he still needs time to develop even more. He really does. I mean, he can do it all on his own already, but like he needs the team around him to develop and to really, how do you say, come into their own as well, But yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut the video here. So I appreciate you guys for checking out the this episode of the Stat Daddy podcast show, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So until next time, guys, peace.